Hello and welcome to another episode of Trailblazers Rising. I'm so excited to have you here to listen to my new friend, Brianna, who I've been secretly stalking on social media ever since she graced my FYP. Today, we're going to dive into topics very relevant to those women and mothers who are ready to break the cycle of burnout and become a manifesting queen. So before I muck it all up, Brianna, welcome. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Brianna. I'm a mom of 2 plus 1 on the way. I'm expecting my third. She's due in April, late April. So no
Taurus
matter what,
baby.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I'm a Taurus baby too. So so yeah, I'm a mom of 3 almost. And yeah, so my whole deal is helping moms find themselves after motherhood. I feel like we've kind of been conditioned to more or less almost forget like we have children, right?
Sacrifice
And
ourselves.
sacrifice ourselves and do it all, have it all, be it all. And in all of these overachieving processes that we do, we actually wind up losing our spark. Some of us didn't even have authenticity to begin with, myself included. I had no idea who I was before I became a mom. And so over the past 2 years, I've gone on this healing journey where I've done a lot of mind, body, soul alignment. I've done a crap ton of manifestation and things like that. And I realized, wow, a lot of people could benefit from this information. So that's what I'm here to do. And that's who I'm here to serve.
That's so exciting. And you are in your first year of business. And let me tell you, before we dive into the motherhood stuff and all that, because it's juicy, when you are a quote unquote newbie or beginner to a topic such as manifestation, it is so important to dive into teaching others, because when you're new and budding in your genius and your excellence about something, you're the perfect person to teach new people about it, because the longer somebody's been mastering something, the farther away from the initial problems they become, and they can't be the best teacher for the people who are just being introduced to the subject. So I'm so happy you're in your first year of business and that we're talking about this now. But what I really want to say before I forget it is I'm diving into the topic of motherhood and entrepreneurship over on my YouTube channel, because as a person, I'm a connoisseur of the Real Housewives. I'm a connoisseur of the pretty shows on Netflix about real estate and women and all that, simply because we can learn so much from these ambitious women. But Kyle Richards from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills over these past few seasons has really discovered what happens when you've dedicated yourself to motherhood and wifedom for 20 something years. And then all the kids grow up and the marriage falls apart because you are no longer a person in your own right. And she straight up said in one of the most recent episodes, she goes, "Who am I if I'm not a wife and a mom?" And I just want women to realize that as soon as possible, that identifying yourself based on your role to others is a killer, right? If I see a video on somebody on TikTok and I go, "Oh, who are they?" And I go over to their page and their bio says wife to so-and-so and mom to so-and-so, I'm totally turned off. I don't give a fuck about those people. I want to know about you. So what would you say is the thing that tipped you off to like, oh, hey, I'm losing myself to this motherhood thing, and then tipped you off to how many women are in fact dealing with?
So, personal, very, very personal story that I haven't really shared with too many people actually is I realized that I was not years up. I realized I wasn't okay actually on a vacation a couple of years ago. I was pregnant with my second. We always rent these big beach houses out in the Outer Banks, and it's like my extended family. So it's my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law set this up, and so it's like my sister-in-law's family because I'm married into the big family and so is she. And so I don't know what was going on. Obviously I was pregnant, it was hormonal. I was only 8 weeks. So, it was very, very new. No one knew yet, but even still, she pulls me aside and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I just sobbed on her shoulder for 45 minutes. And at that moment, I'm like, this isn't normal. And so I realized that I had been putting everybody's needs before my own. And I looked back, and even before I was a mom, I was a caretaker and a nurturer, and it became my identity. And the thing is that, we get so used to, and I'm not even going to say putting off our dreams, goals, ambitions, because that's not even really intentionally what we do. We just think like, if I do this, I'll find love. Or if I do this, someone will love me enough where, I'll feel the love that I didn't have, or what have you. And I realized that that was severely lacking. So if I'm looking at, like you said, one of those Instagram pages where it's, oh, wife and mother and this, that, and the other, and while that's all very valuable information, right? Um, it's also more about, like you said, like who you are. And if you don't know who you were, and if you don't know who you were before you had children, you need to do some serious soul exploration, authenticity work, and the inner work first, which is what I teach my clients. And when I teach people inside of, I host a community called Rise Academy. It's a paid community, and we have healed our authenticity through those 4 pillars of wellness that I was telling you a little bit about in our intro before we actually started.
It's one of the things that really changed it for me. I was scrolling one day. Some may call it doom scrolling. Who knows? The weather's cold. There's not a lot going on. And
Yep.
I saw this video. I couldn't tell you the person's name, but I do have it saved in my archives.
Yes.
Not very organized, but I could find it.
Yeah.
That said, the number one predictor or indicator of a child's success as an adult that can be measured is not if there was a happy marriage in their parents, if they had all the emotional, non-emotional. I'm a child of emotional neglect and emotional abuse. And I'm just finding that out now in my late 30s. And the number one indicator of how successful your child is going to be as an adult is the level and degree of fulfillment and happiness in their mother. It has nothing to do with the other parent. It has nothing to do with how much time you spent with your parent. It's whether or not you saw your mom unapologetically going after her goals.
I completely agree with that. And that's something that's been my new shift for 2025 is how can I live my most authentic life for my children? Because I remember even being a kid, and I'm in a very similar upbringing to you as well, where like on one hand, I'd have a parent tell me, I can so see you doing this. You'd be the best at this. You'd be the best at this, but don't do that because, you're this, that, and the other thing. Or go for your goals. Only you can make it happen. This, that, and the other thing. Oh, but don't aim too high. It's like, well, wait, what?
You can do anything, but I'm not going to go to any of your games or performances.
Right, exactly. Or I am and I'm going to make a scene or whatever the case was, And so I remember being in a state of confusion as like an 8-year-old. It's like, well, if you're telling me to go after my goals and dreams, but you're stuck in these like weird, like abusive relationships or what have you, why? Like, why should I listen to you if you're not a living embodiment of what you tell me to do? So going forward, that's my goal. One of my big personal goals in 2025 is to be a living embodiment of my highest self, which we can circle that with manifestation in a little bit if you'd like. But I want to wake up as my highest self. I want to go to bed as my highest self. And every single decision that I make during the day, I want my children to see that I'm making the decisions that my highest self would. And I agree with you, Melanie, that that's the way to measure a child's success rate in adulthood. They have to see it from somewhere. Otherwise, if we tell them, what's the point?
Yeah. It's funny that your turning point was on vacation because I had a big turning point 2 years ago on vacation too. We went to a beautiful mountain town in North Georgia and we rented a big 3-story house and we had my stepson and his girlfriend and his mom there and my father-in-law and my kids and my husband and me. And I literally slept through the whole thing. I saw our big king size bed in the master bedroom. And the only memories I have are spending a shit ton of money at the expensive Mountain Town grocery store so that I could cook for all these people, which I could have just done here at home, and laying in the bed and having them all go do things while I was just like, oh God, this is bliss. Everybody's gone. I just get to lay down. We didn't go hiking. We didn't get pictures. We didn't get any of that shit. And when I came home from that, I went, you know what? My business may be more financially successful than I ever thought possible, but I'm not able to enjoy it. And I'm chronic illness, you name it. Endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, PMDD, all that, mast cell activation syndrome, POTS, Ehlers-Danlos. And I went, so we're probably going to have to redesign some things.
Yeah.
If we're going to make any of the things that we want possible. So what would you say then is the biggest misconception that you help people with when it comes to manifestation? Because there's so many out there. I would love to know what your take is. Like, what are people getting wrong?
not leading with emotional wellness. So the 4 pillars of wellness, no matter what you Google, I'm sure you'll get different wheels and pillars and everything else. What I teach is I teach it very simplified in the 4 pillars. That is emotional, physical, spiritual, and social. Emotional wellness is where your limiting beliefs lie, the lies you tell yourself, your subconscious reprogramming, all of this stuff. Now, a lot of people feel that that lies within spiritual wellness, but in my opinion, if your mind isn't right, if your mind isn't right with yourself, and if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, which leads into the social aspect, if you don't have a good relationship with yourself and your needs and your boundaries, how can you expect to have a good physical wellness pillar in which you are actually actively taking care of your body, in which you are actively taking care of what your soul needs? How are you not going to have a good relationship with source, God, divine, the universe, what have you? And then if those 3 are in alignment, then you'll actually attract the relationships that you want and the opportunities that you want, because you'll actually be in that mind, body, soul alignment to actually attract the things that you want.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Alignment is so important. Alignment is so important. I was just talking about this on my live this morning, where one of the biggest things holding you back physically from achieving the status that you want, whether you want to be a CEO, whether you want to be well-known, whether you want to be, the next Abraham Esther Hicks, it doesn't matter. If you're going into your bedroom and your closet and your wardrobe are a clusterfuck and there's all sorts of stuff that you haven't worn in a long time or stuff that doesn't make you feel like a baddie and shit in there, that is a reflection of what you have going on up here. If it's not clear and concise and aligned with who you are now and who the fuck you want to be, how can you expect to portray that to the world and get anybody else to believe?
I completely agree. And it's like right now, like being pregnant, you're a mom. You know what it's like to be pregnant and feel like none of your clothes fit, right? So like on a personal level, that is challenging too, because like I can say from personal experience, I'm like, okay, like I want to embody my highest self. And it's like right now, my highest self is leggings and a t-shirt, because that
Pregnant and my highest self is leggings. So don't you worry, you're in good company here.
love it. And it's funny because it's like, that's what I feel the best in. That's what I feel like I look the best in right now. And I feel like I am an embody of my highest self because I'm able to move and chase my 18-month-old around and, be a mother and be this successful businesswoman as well. I completely agree with that, Melanie.
Yeah. I remember I actually had this realization the other day. Sometimes I have ChatGPT ask me really deep questions so that we can probe the really vulnerable stories out of me. Because I told him a couple weeks ago, it was like the first week of December, and I've been talking to my ChatGPT. I use him for everything. And I said, based on all the marketing work that we've done in this past year, what do you think I could do more of that I'm not doing enough of in my marketing to connect with my community, la, 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 la. And he called me out and said, you help people when they're their most vulnerable, but you don't share anything vulnerable about yourself. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're so right. So I have him ask me questions to remember time periods and stuff that I realized my vulnerability. And when I was pregnant with my first son, he's 16 now, just so everybody knows. When I was pregnant with him, an undiagnosed ADHD autistic, I, of course, became hyper-focused on pregnancy. And that was a different time. That was 2007, 2008. We didn't have Google the way we do now. We certainly didn't have social media the way we do now. So I was reading books and doing all this research and, talking to I was very close with my mom at the time. And I was telling her everything. And one time she looked at me and she said, oh yeah, I forgot you're the first person to ever be pregnant. Because I was sharing all this. I was so excited. I was like, oh, well, now my baby's this size and now my body is this. And la, la, la. I didn't realize that I was just, like dumping my information on her. But I see it now. And she said that to me and it really cut like a knife. Like, oh, wow, I'm not allowed to be interested in this and share. Like, this isn't a safe space to share this. And then a few weeks after that, I had just gotten done telling her that too many strangers touch my belly and felt okay to touch my belly. But I have about a 4-inch long torso. So my belly really only had anywhere to go. It was only out, right? So I was a very pregnant person. It looked like twins, but it was just one baby. And so I had just gotten done telling her how many strangers feel like they can touch my belly and how I don't really like it. And we were at a store and somebody came up to me and they're like, oh my God, mama, la, la, la. And the look of disdain in her eye. And when that person left, she said, wow, you really do attract a crowd. And I just remember now that I'm reflecting on it, I'm like, no wonder I am the person that I am now. Like, no wonder being a mom, the kind of mom that I am, is very important to me. And because like when you're a survivor of neglect, you can't ever know the degree of neglect that you experienced because you didn't experience what not having neglect was. The only way to tell how neglectful your childhood was is how hyper independent you are now.
Yeah,
The more independent, the more neglect. And I was like, damn. So we can see that the wound of motherhood runs through generations, and we talk about epigenetics and all that sort of stuff. And learning epigenetics really made manifestation make more sense to me, because I was able to take all the pressure off of this was my fault, this was my fault, this was my fault, and really understand my grandma and my great grandma and great great grandma and all these women that I didn't even ever know were never afforded the ability to self-explore and self-actualize and all those things. So it's my responsibility to break these cycles and start something new and fresh for, you know, my lineage. So what I mean to say is the physical embodiment aspect of manifestation seems like such a good place for most neurodivergent women to start, because we can notice physical stuff way more than we can the emotional shit. I'm an Aquarius moon. I want to intellectualize the feeling. I don't want to feel it. But if you tell me to work on my body and move my body to get shit through, I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's why I teach this holistically, is because like maybe with the movement of the body, that's where the things start happening. And again, your relationship with yourself ties into how you feel about movement, how you feel about handling, you know, these things. So like, let's just say you are looking to manifest your dream body, right? Like a lot of people are looking to, especially in this January, all the gym rats are at, you know, for the next 2 weeks, right? So, but the thing is that, right? So like the gym rat mentality, I've got my stim toy here too. The gym rat mentality is based on a wounded emotional wellness pillar, because here we are, right? I have to be the thinnest, I have to be the healthiest, I have to be the whatever. And I feel like physical wellness is so often personified by a fitness influencer chugging a protein shake, taking a selfie in the mirror. And it's like, but no, because
sucking it in.
Things scary. But like, here's a question for you. Are your cycles syncing? Are your workouts soul aligned? Are you doing the latest HIIT workout to guaranteed to lose 10 pounds in 10 days? Or are you going easy on your body because that's what your body needs? Right.
Yeah.
And so when you start to look at those things, it's like, okay, yeah, well, we can start with this physical wellness, as long as we are also talking about these emotional aspects and these also the spiritual aspects as well too, because they work interconnectedly.
So interconnected. They're so interconnected, especially when you take into account the physical manifestation of neurodivergence. And by that, I mean, if you are a person with a uterus, if you are living as a woman, you have those hormone cycles, and you are ADHD, autistic, or both, you are hypermobile. And I will diagnose you with that all day, every day. I have never met a woman that was ADHD, autistic, and was not also hypermobile. I think that if your brain is built differently, your body is built differently. And there's different ways of that expressing. I know a lot of people that have lupus or fibromyalgia or PMDD or mast cell activation syndrome or, you know, Ehlers-Danlos, whatever the fuck it is. You have to understand that you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you other than your limiting beliefs and the need to, you know, personal development and improve, because everybody has to. There's not one person that ever ends personal development. Tony Robbins is not done with his personal development, and that man's in his 70s or 60s, whatever he is, right? You have to understand.
If he's made it, then he hasn't made it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's like, when you do it from the angle of, you know, the last time I lost a shit ton of weight was 2016 to 2018. I lost probably 40 or 50 pounds. I was going to the gym 5 days a week. My whole life was the gym and all my friends there. I had young kids, working in a very busy restaurant, getting my degree. You know, every day was stringent. You get up, you take kids to school, you go to the gym, you do the class, you come home, you do lunch, you do your schoolwork, you go to work, shit that I would never be able to do now. And I'm in better shape now than I was then. This time around, you know, I broke down in the summer of 2022. I said, this ain't it. This is not going to work for me. What do I have to do? I redesigned everything to eliminate Inflammation. That was my whole, I said,
Mm-hmm.
spirit guides, if you give me information about inflammation, any kind, I'll listen and I will learn about it. And so instead of stress management, which is where so many people go wrong, you cannot manage your stress. You have to eliminate your stress response as much as possible, because you have to stop thinking that everything's out to get you and everything's a big problem. And you guys woke up late and that's going to ruin the whole day. You know, you had a cheat day, you ate something bad. So now you can't eat good for the rest of the day. It's just, it's got to be done from love instead of from hate.
Absolutely. And to circle back on that with nervous system regulation, right? Which is what another big thing that I teach my clients too, because here's the thing, right? So like we have the manifestation stuff. We've got our 4 pillars, right? So our 4 pillars are like our foundation, right?
Yeah.
And your skyscraper can go as strong as your foundation is. The whole walls and the buildings and the external structure, the umbrella, so to speak, is your nervous system regulation, because you can manifest everything all you want and you can take that proverbial trust fall and you can jump off that proverbial cliff. But if you are clenching your ass cheeks on the way down, I am sorry, but you will wind up in the exact same position that you were trying to escape from, because that's the mentality you have that you found yourself escaping from, et cetera, 5 minutes after your trust fall. You'll attract the same thing. Always manifesting our highest alignment. And to go back to your point with your wardrobe, right? Everything you see in your 3D reality is a manifestation of your highest self. So if you want the Bugatti, right? Now that's not my dream car, but I feel like that's where a lot of people get hung up on is, the jet set lifestyle, which isn't for everybody, but sure, let's just use that as an example. And your Bugatti is not sitting in your driveway. That's because the person who owns the Bugatti, his financial thermostat, his mental health, his emotional health, his spiritual health, and his social health are a representation of that 3D physical thing sitting in his driveway.
I tell people too, I tell my clients, I'm like, we'll use a new car as a great example. If you want a new car, go show me what you're doing to your car right now. Go show me how clean it is. Go show me what the oil level is. Go show me if you're riding around on empty all the time. Go show me how you treat your car right now. And I'll tell you about how long it's going to take for the universe to let you get a new one.
Fun fact, I manifested my new car, my dream car, out in this past summer. Yeah. And it same agree. I was like, I need to start treating the car that I have with more respect. And it's funny because my husband's 6'5" and I used to drive a Chevy Cruze hatchback, right? And so like he looked like a baby giraffe getting out of it, just kind of like yeah. He would drive everywhere because that was the most comfortable position. So I'm like, I knew in my mind I needed a car big enough for my growing family and big enough for him, right? And so my dream car has been since I was a little kid, right? Because I wanted to be a mom, right? Like that was like my thing. And I wanted to be a really, really good mom. And for whatever reason, I associated Chevy Suburbans with good moms, the soccer moms, the moms that went to Costco.
Is it white or black?
It's gray. Yeah, it's gray. Gunmetal gray, black leather interior.
Yes.
Gorgeous. Oh yeah, gorgeous. And so, I'm like that was the car that like I was going to take to Costco's and load up on snacks and goodies and things like that for my kids, right? So that car represented a lifestyle. And I'm looking at my Chevy Cruze and I'm like, I got into an accident with it and like we got it fixed, but like the body panels weren't right. And I'm like, I think I manifested this accident because I hated my car. I didn't really like it when I got it.
Tipping point.
Yeah, it was what I could afford. And then I'm like, you know what? I just need to start showing it some more appreciation. I need to start showing it love because it really does. It gets me from point A to point B. It has never steered me wrong. I had never had an issue with it. It was too small. I will give it that. It was too small. But anything else, like I had never had an issue with it. When I was growing up, my parents both had cars that were always running down. So I told myself as an adult, like I was never going to have a broke down car because it was so stressful as a child.
It's a stressor.
As a child, watching your parents lose their mind because their car won't work and the whole burnout cycle that they were going through and everything else. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to get like new cars or newer cars, right? I'm not going to do the Craigslist car flop anymore. So when I had this car, it was a manifestation of my highest alignment because it got me from point A to point B. That was all I wanted. That was all I manifested, right? Because I didn't have a lifestyle to associate it to. Now I do.
Yeah. So let's talk about one of the things that I tell people is we can speed up the manifestation process if you get your nervous system accustomed to better. So one thing, because you're exactly where you are right now based on what you thought you deserved a few years ago, right? the level of house that you're in, the friends that you have, the way you treat yourself, the way you look, all of that is based on what you thought you deserved just a few years ago. So to get your nervous system used to the finer things. We're all tourists here. We all know what the fuck we're talking about. We all get this. If you're not a tourist and you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I know you have a tourist in your life and you understand that like their bed is good, their food is good, they have luxurious things. That's what's very important to us. One of the things that I did to really kill a lot of birds with one stone on my manifestation journey is to start walking through the most expensive part of my neighborhood. I live in a historic area in Jacksonville and I worked very hard to get here. And I love this neighborhood more than I thought I could ever love any neighborhood in the whole world. And the $1 million homes that are on the river are less than a mile from my house. So I said, all right, I got to get back in shape. I got to get this chronic pain and fatigue and shit under control. And I also learned that you're meant to work out like your Mars sign to get the most out of it. And I'm a Capricorn Mars. So I said, walking is really, I'm going to be a bitch that walks. And I'm going to be a bitch that walks for a lot every single day, dependably. And people are going to know me in my neighborhood. And I will tell you what, in the most expensive part of my neighborhood, I am friends with a dog named Golden Retriever dog named Butter. And his family lives in one of the biggest fucking houses. And when I walk through that neighborhood, all those people know me because obviously pink hair, big straw hat. Everybody says, hi, what's up? And it took me 6 months to a year to feel like I fit in. It really did. Of going out 4 miles a day, 8 miles a day, every single day. And now when I'm out and about, like I know people, I say hi. I'm autistic. So also I say hi to their pets because those are really the only reason I'm out there. And I had like the realization about a year ago and I was like, I am that girl now. Like, I feel like I fit in here. So what do you recommend to people to get your nervous system used to better?
That girl mentality. I love that. And I do an EFT tapping course, or I had an EFT tapping course. And I can kind of circle back to this about a month ago. My business was kind of like swiped out from under my bum, and I lost all my courses. I lost client information. I lost leads. I lost a lot of stuff. So I am working on getting a new nervous system regulation course out with an EFT tapping section, because EFT tapping is, to me, that's the bee's knees, right? Like, you can tap on being that girl. You can tap on being multimillionaire. You can tap on whatever it is that you want to do. And I feel like it's kind of at this like delicate point, right? Where like people are starting to realize how powerful EFT tapping is, but I feel like there's still a big portion of the population that's like, oh, that's woo woo, that's weird, like, oh, you have to do is tap on your face and you'll be a millionaire, like whatever. No, honey, like that stuff works, right? So tapping for that girl, and like you said, getting into neighborhoods, driving by, car dealerships, or going to look at the cars. Who says you have to buy it? Walk into, a Mercedes dealership or whatever, or BMW dealership, whatever it is, it's your dream car, right? Just go walk in, walk through a nice area, go into like a designer store that you wouldn't necessarily associate yourself with, and get comfortable being around those kinds of people, around the kind of wealth, etc., etc. That doesn't mean that you have to go and spend your money in order to make your money. Not that at all. You just need to get emotionally okay with that environment.
Yeah. I tell people too, I asked my spirit guides. I do ask you guys a lot, but not right now. I ask my clients, I say, okay, so if I were to tell you to envision the most incredible, opulent, expensive, huge, gigantic mansion, millionaire, billionaire home, and they're like, okay, I got it. I'm like, okay, now put yourself in the middle of that house and then tell me how you react when you open your eyes. If the reaction is always like, whoa, this place is incredible, we have a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah. Because it shouldn't be, whoa, this place is incredible, or whoa, this is what a $5 million house looks like, or whatever. It's, nope, I belong here.
Yeah.
This is mine, and I claim it. Yep. That's the mindset that you need to have. And there is a big difference, and there's a lot of inner work that needs to happen to go from, whoa, this place is epic, to, nope, I belong here. I do.
Tell me more about this EFT tapping, because I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I have not really like tried it, but I've definitely seen a lot of creators talk about it. And to me, it sounds annoying.
Sure.
Like to have to sit here and be like, and it could be my nails And it could be the fact that I'm trying to slow down. I'm trying my hardest to slow down. You know, that thing where like the easiest way to regulate your nervous system is slow down. I'm the one brushing my teeth like this and like scrolling TikTok and like doing other things. I'm like, can we calm the fuck down? What are we doing here? But I'm constantly seeking stimulation, because if I'm not stimulated, my evil brain toddler is going to start telling me a negative story. So can you tell me the root of all this and how I know I'm hitting the right places? Like, what if I'm a millimeter off? Is it still going to work?
Oh yeah, it's still going to work. So the EFT tapping works on your actual meridian for acupuncture. So it's kind of a combination of the subconscious reprogramming and all of the psychology aspects and the psychology stuff that we have today, and ancient medicine, right? So the actual tapping points, starting with the karate chop. I don't know if any of the creators that you...
Oh, I've seen the people. I scroll, bitch. I know what people be doing.
Yeah. So starting on the karate chop and getting yourself really good, right? And then the tapping points are, you start with your eyebrow, side of the eye, under the eye, under your nose, under your chin. Collarbone is going to be like right here. And armpit is like, we're all ladies here, I think, right like in the middle of your bra straps. Yeah, like right there in the middle. So it's a little bit farther down. And so you just want to go through those motions, and you can say to yourself anything. Now, I have a 6-year-old who is diagnosed ADHD, but I am convinced that he is more on the spectrum than he has been diagnosed with. And when we have meltdowns, we get to the root of what we're feeling and we tap on it. And I kid you not, Melanie, like we will go from a level 10 out of 10. We'll go from a level 20 out of 10 to a level 1 in a couple of sessions, in a couple of rounds. And if you need the mindset shift that you need to be stimulated, it's actually a very stimulating activity, because it causes you to focus on what you're going to say, the things you're going to say, how you want to phrase it, and what you want to manifest. So if you're looking at it from like a stimulation point, you can absolutely trick your brain into thinking, okay, well, if I want to limit my anxiety, right, I can think about all the things that I want to tap on to limit my anxiety, and then say those things and tap. And, you know, I don't know how bad your evil brain toddler can be at times. But for me, I find that it's very stimulating while also being very calming.
Yeah. Are you tapping and hold on. You're explaining it in a way that I actually understand it. So I'm going to get very excited. I don't want to get very excited because my internet's going to tank. When you're saying things, are you saying the things that you want to release, or are you saying the things you want to draw in?
Both. So let's just say you're feeling anxious. So we can do like a quick tapping session right now, just so you understand.
Everybody roll your sleeves up. Get ready. Let's do this.
Sleeves up. Here we go. So let's just say we're tapping on anxiety. And I actually did this before this morning because I knew that I had to have this podcast. This is actually a vision board checklist item for me. So I'm very happy to be here. And I did some tapping just to make sure that I wasn't too anxious to start this morning. So we're going to focus on the thing that we're looking to release, and then we're going to release it. So when you're doing this, you can say it aloud if you want, or you can think it in your mind. But the combination of the thinking or saying and the tapping is what actually gets the results. And I could go into all the studies and things like that based on what people have been doing, et cetera, et cetera. But for this purpose, follow along as best you can, and we'll go through it. Okay. So even though I feel anxious right now, I choose to love and honor myself. Okay. Even though I feel really anxious about something right now, I choose to love, honor, and respect myself. Even though I can't quite put my finger on why I'm anxious, I still choose to love myself. We're going to go to our eyebrow. I feel a little anxious. Side of the eye. I can't quite figure out why that is. I'm getting this pit in my stomach that I want to go away. I'm getting this nervous feeling that I don't want to have anymore. I choose to release it. I choose to release this anxiousness. I know that it's just my nervous system doing its job. It's just my nervous system keeping me alive. But I'm telling my nervous system right now, that I am safe. I have nothing to worry about. No one is going to judge me any more harshly than I've judged myself in the past. I love myself. I am so grateful for the opportunities coming my way. I choose to face my opportunities with fearlessness, grace, and poise. I release any anxious feelings. I release any and all anxious feelings in mind, body, and spirit.
So you get to say like a full thing. You don't have to just say the same word over and over. It's a lot less repetitive than I thought it was.
Yeah, so like I said, we kind of started talking about the anxiousness, and I remember the first tapping session I did, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This seems really counterintuitive because we were focusing on all of our limiting beliefs, and it was a big group setting. And so everyone got to put in limiting beliefs, and we spent probably, oh God, I want to say like 15 minutes talking about just limiting beliefs. And I remember thinking, like, what am I doing to myself? I'm just reaffirming all these beliefs. But in reality, it's a very mindful process between the cognition, the brain stuff, and I'm going to get all the words incorrect, but the cognition, the brain stuff, and thinking about the actual limiting beliefs. The tapping is actually release it. So it's like the physical aspect of it. And then the meridian tapping points are energy outlets, let's just say, that expel and express or expel excess energy that we don't want anymore. So while it seems counterintuitive, it's actually incredibly mindful. And while tapping for things like anxiety, people tap for sugar cravings. I know people that exclusively tap for what they're looking to manifest, and they'll manifest it like that, in addition to some meditation, visualization, and again, managing those 4 pillars of wellness, however they're choosing to do it. But the tapping, I feel like, is really, that's the key. If you're looking for something that's like you thought, not really that repetitive, something that will get you calmed down from a level 20 out of 10 to a level 1 out of 10, if you're feeling elevated for whatever reason, like your walk through your neighborhood. If you're getting this feeling like, oh, I don't really belong here. No, I do belong here. Like, let's tap on it. And I mean, I don't know how well you feel about with your fear of being seen. I don't know if you're going to want to tap as you're walking through your neighborhood, whatever.
My 14-year-old says that social anxiety hates to see me come in. I am not afraid of doing anything in public.
I love it. I love it. So like, no, like I do feel good here. I belong here. This is where I'm meant to be. I was born to be in this place. Those kinds of things. After you've released that initial like, ooh, I don't know, this is a little weird, start to reaffirm the beliefs. And that combination will calm your nervous system down, and it will actually work to eliminate your limiting beliefs or the lies that you tell yourself over the course of, your walk tapping session, whatever it is that you're doing.
Do you post about this stuff?
The EFT tapping, no. I haven't posted about this. I was saving it for the community, but I'm looking for new ways of content and new forms of content. So I think
I only know one other content creator off the top of my head that steadily posts about EFT tapping and how it's helped her manifestation journey. She's not my favorite. I couldn't remember her name, but I could pick her out in a lineup. But she's just she's a very bubbly, goody two-shoes girl. And while I don't hold that against her, she looks like both of her parents are still in a happy marriage and still very active in her life. And I just can't learn a lot from a person that's like that. It's just not gonna, it's gonna fall on deaf ears because I don't have that kind of support. So I don't think that I could receive things properly from her. If that makes me a terrible person, so be it. But I mean, we really have to, I talk about this at the Neurospicy Academy all the time. You have to get advice from people who get your struggle, who understand what you've gone through, who understand your traumas, who understand why you are the way that you are, and who are also actively working towards bettering themselves and who are living a life that you would live.
Absolutely. And to your point with this other woman that, does the EFT stuff, she's probably in her highest alignment. And the reason why she's repelling you is because magnetic energy repels as much as it attracts. Yes. So, honestly, round of applause for her for actually going out there and doing it.
And she's great. She's growing. She's definitely building community. She's a fantastic creator. I like her a lot. I would not snub her or anything at an event. We just brands don't align,
Different brains, different authenticity, different levels. And the thing is that we're not for everybody. So I totally respect where you're coming from. And it wasn't an attack at all. It was more like, I guess I should really start posting about this because it is valuable.
I don't like to use the word should. So I would tell you that you would benefit from posting about this because I liked you from the first moment I saw your content. And like I just said, you talking to me about EFT, this is the most I've learned. I've been willing to learn about EFT.
I love it. Fair enough. Yeah.
So maybe it becomes part of what you talk about, especially if you're going to be using it all the time. I talk about mindset reframes in my content all the time. If I'm like, I don't know what to post, let me make a dancing video and I'll put a couple reframes up, because people like it when I tell them how to reframe the thoughts, because we're always going to have these negative thoughts. I've not met one person who doesn't have the evil brain toddler in their brain that ruins their shower by, let's go over every mistake I've ever made, or let's have every hypothetical fight that we're going to have with that dumb bitch if we ever see her again, right? And the shower is supposed to be a nice experience.
Yes. Yes, and it always happens in the shower or right before bed.
Always. Always, always, always. Right before bed. Who are you telling? Oh my God. That's why I have to literally I watch a show now to fall asleep. It takes the pressure off. Oh my God, my dog just went poop outside and he's so excited and he wants something from me and he's going to start barking. You gotta go. Oh my God. It's so unprofessional. Who's running this show? Go lay down. Oh my God. And my husband's home too. They always run past whoever's in the kitchen and they come up to mom. Kids, dogs, doesn't matter. Okay. So we'll let that be our sign that I want you to express to everybody here, because this has been the best kickoff to my season 2 of Trailblazers Rising. I'm so glad that you were here and that you shared with me and with this community. And I actually said yesterday, I said, it's very rare that I talk to somebody that I learned something from. So thank you very much, because I actually will be looking into EFT. It's very rare that I talk to people that I learned something from. All I ever do is research. So it's like, I know enough about everything that I think I know what I like and what I don't like. So I'm really going to look into EFT. So tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow you, all that sort of stuff. It'll, of course, be in the show notes, so you don't have to get it perfect. But this has been a fantastic episode. I want to know all this information, too.
Awesome. So, yeah, I am on TikTok for as long as we have TikTok, right? Brianna.Lenhardt is my handle, and then my Instagram handle is the exact same. Brianna.Lenhardt. That's where I'm building my communities as well. I'm starting to explore YouTube a little bit. I have not done a ton of long form content yet, although with the EFT stuff, I'm feeling like that's a great way to get some more like longer things out there. So yeah. And then I honestly don't know my YouTube handle. I'll have to send that to you so that way I can put it in.
You can show notes, everybody.
Everything will be there because, yeah, us like neurodivergence. So, yeah, but I'm like I said, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and starting a YouTube platform.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I would hug you if you were here in person, and everybody knows I'm not a hugger. So that's a big deal. So to everybody who's listening, I want you all to know that I love you all equally and for different reasons. I'm very proud of you and happy that you're choosing growth over bitching. And if you need anything from me, reach out and we will talk again very soon. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me.